If you just now tuning in, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and hit the bell. GMS fam, the green room. Let's talk about it. Hey, yo, GMS fam, the green room, what's going on, y'all? Happy Friday. You know, we started every show with peace, love, positive energy, good vibes, passing it forward, hoping that you pass it along as well. GMS fam, the green room. If you are here listening live, tap into that live chat. Let me know you are in here. Shout out your city, where you're tuning in from. Today is going to be a classic review day. I haven't done a review in a minute, but I think that it's warranted to go through as much as this video. I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but I am gonna go through it. We are gonna see some things, we're gonna hear some things, and we're gonna react to it. It's been a while, but we gonna do this shit today. So obviously you read the title. It says Boyce Watkins is in denial, and that he is, because this whole Boyce Watkins and Corey Holcomb back and forth started because of a comment that Boyce left on Willie D's Instagram. This is where it all started from. Now, I know there's probably things been said in the past or whatever, but we haven't heard much or, heard anything about a back and forth with anything with Boyce Watkins and Corey Holcomb in a minute. Until Corey got wind of a comment that he made saying that he never liked Corey, which was his choice to say and to do on his own on Instagram, and to get a response from that was warranted because he didn't need to say that. Now, I'm one of those people that, I'm not here to be a Corey Holcomb defender. I'm not here to take up for Corey or to try to play the role of something that I'm not, because I don't know Corey Holcomb and I am not trying to be that man's friend. But what I have done on this channel ever since I started was see things for what they are, have an unbiased opinion, and give my thoughts on what I see and how I see it. And just like I told you is exactly how I see it. This man, Boyce Watkins, started something via Instagram in the comments of Willie D's page and has been getting responses for it. But every time he has gotten a response, he has come back to act like he didn't start shit. He just takes it to another level. So why I'm saying he's in denial is because he totally disregards the fact that this is something that he started. This is something that he began, and this was the back and forth that is happening right now was caused by Boyce Watkins himself. And the fact that he's trying to twist the narrative and spin it in the way where his followers or his listeners or the people that support him could look at it as, oh, this is Corey Holcomb attacking this man, and it's because he's a not mature grown man and he hates black women and he's this and that. Well, I want y'all to hear how this man is spinning this narrative and what he's trying to do to paint this a certain way, although he started this. All right, let's go through this.
Stuff like that. I don't know the status of his own relationship situation. Maybe he talks about it, but he should, if he's going to talk about relationship stuff, he should probably show some evidence that his relationships are where he wants them to be, right? That they're in a good place. And also that it's in a healthy place, right? Because one of the things that that I think men, you got to really kind of balance is that a lot of your YouTube advice that you get on dating, relationships, and women and everything else is all about how to be a player. You know, how to have 18 bitches and whatever, you know, people say, you know, whatever, right? How to have a girlfriend in every city and how to get sex whenever you want. And I think that's cool. But I also think that you should get the other side of that conversation. As black men, you got to get the other side. Somebody has to explain to you the benefits of, say, being, you know, in love with a woman that is going to have your back, or explain to you some of the downside of what happens when you are engaged with a lot of different women. If you mess with a lot of different women, you're going to end up having some problems, major problems. I'm talking about diseases. I'm talking about financial around him, because there is a fundamental tenet.
We don't care about that. I don't care about that solely because everybody goes through their own experiences and relationships. I have said this multiple times, being somebody that has watched the 5150 show, I am not a guy that watches it and is like, yeah, I got to do what Corey does. No, there's truth in the things that he's saying, and then there's also the wild shit that he's experienced, that he's holding on to, that he expresses to his audience, and people are like, cool. And there's people that can relate to that. So that's why he talks about it. I think trying to be bubblegum and all, you know, happy and trying to act like everything's supposed to be a certain way is the wrong way to look at it. I think Corey's opinions on relationship is the other side. So the fact that you are trying to make it seem like this is the only thing people hear, this is the only thing people pay attention to, it's really just because of the fact that this is now something that people are gravitating towards because it's real life. There's a lot of people that deal with relationships but don't, or are scared to be themselves or to speak their truth because of how things are, because of what the quote unquote standard is. And I think that Corey just has a different side of how relationships work. That's just simply how it is. And clearly the demographic that pays attention to him are a lot of people that can relate to what he's talking about.
He wanted the shock value. He was hoping this would be one of those edgy jokes. You know, comedians take chances, and I respect that, right? They
up,
say
Jack?
things that might get them slapped. They say things that might get them banned.
What up, DC?
And that is kind of the challenge for comedians. They defend each other's right to freedom of speech. That's why, for example, so many comedians rallied around Chris Rock when Will Smith slapped him. They rallied around him because there is a fundamental tenet among comedians that says we should be allowed to say whatever we want, right? And not be slapped, not be banned, not be canceled or whatever. So he was being edgy, right? He's being edgy.
The reason why comedians rallied around Chris Rock was because niggas shouldn't be walking on stage smacking motherfuckers for making light jokes. Comedians shouldn't have to pay for everybody who has talked down on you and your wife's situation or talked about your entanglement. That's why they rallied around him. They rallied around him because comedians deserve to feel like comedians instead of feeling like they're just out here maliciously attacking motherfuckers when they on stage trying to relieve people from the stresses and make them happy and laugh out of having a stressful fucking week. You know we're in a fucked up time when people are looking at comedy and trying to destroy it in ways where now they're taking what comedians are saying and twisting them and making it a horrible thing or making it seem like they're serious and them, you know, sharing satire or trying to be sarcastic. We just seen the same thing happen just recently with Roseanne Barr. She went and said some stuff about the Jewish community. They took the clip and ran with it without even seeing it in full context. And everybody's talking about how she's anti this and anti that and she's anti whatever. Charlamagne just gave her donkey of the day because he's like, oh, certain people use sarcasm in this way and that way. Charlamagne, you're the same guy that goes on the air talking about how people don't understand your sarcasm. So for you to give a comedian donkey of the day for being a comedian, regardless if you think it's funny or not. That's contradicting. You're being a hypocrite. So I don't like the discrediting of comedians because I value comedians in a special way because they really do help out the world. Comedians help out the world. I don't think people really understand that. Like motherfuckers who dedicate their lives and careers to going around the country to make people laugh and to make people have a good time, that is a special trait. So I think it's demeaning, and I think he discredits a lot of comedians by passing it off as clown shit or as unserious or just doing it just because they want to be shock value.
Edgy, haha, I wish death on my baby's mama, da 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 da. And I was like, okay, number one, that's just not appropriate because you got to remember, black men pay attention to other black men. A lot of men don't have role models, so they look up to men that they see on TV. They look up to men that they see in Hollywood. So you got to understand the trickle down effect. When I see a guy I admire say, "I wish my baby mama was dead," then I'm a young guy and I say, "Yeah, I wish my baby mama was dead too." Or you think about what happened in Chicago, where Corey's from Chicago, right? Where this guy is punching. Anybody saw that? Where the guy was punching a black woman in her face, like hitting her, like just, you say one more thing, I'm gonna knock you out. You say one more thing, I'm gonna knock you out. Not to say that Corey caused this, not to say that Corey condones any of this, but you need to understand the trickle down effect. It's almost like how when all those people stormed the Capitol and they went, when people talk about Donald Trump's role in.
Man, comparing Corey to Donald Trump is hilarious. Also, I just want to say, this is what I mean by how he's twisting the narrative, because people that watch the 5150 show, people that watch Corey Holcomb know that he doesn't just say, "Oh, I hate my baby mom," and that's it, or "I hope my baby mom dies," that's it. He doesn't just say that. There's context around it. There's reason around it. No matter if he's wrong or not for saying what he said, there's history behind it that the people that pay attention to the people that know already know. When he says those things, it doesn't sound outlandish. They already know what place it's coming from a person that apparently almost got ran over by a car by that same baby mama he's wishing death on, the same person that got a voicemail where you can literally hear the woman saying that she hopes he's wearing a Teflon vest or some shit because she's insinuating that the nigga's finna get shot. It's like all of this wasn't said while this man was sitting here talking about the certain things that Corey said. Now, I'm one of those people, like I said, when I comment on things, I try to bring the full context around things. I'm not a malicious person. I don't like to try to start rumors or narratives. I see things for what they are and I speak on them. And if I'm missing information, that's one thing. I've been corrected by people that have been in the comments that say, "Yo, actually this happened or that happened, or you got this part wrong, or you missed this part because this person did this and that's why the person reacted." And I went back and corrected that. I don't believe that Boyce Watkins doesn't know about the situation between Corey and his baby mom, because he's literally about to review a video by shout out to Do Better Podcast where Corey speaks exactly on that. So he's deliberately ignoring these things to try to spin the narrative.
Into this, let me share my screen and let me know if you guys can hear this. Give me a yes in the chat if you can hear this video. I'm about to share a video from the channel from the Do Better Podcast. And I think that guy's Mr. Goodbread. I don't know his name, but by the way, if you watch this video, man, if you want to ever have a conversation with me one-on-one or debate with me, I'd be happy to debate with you. I don't shy away from debates. I actually enjoy it because I'm not threatened by other ideas, and I definitely love learning from other people. So here is somewhat Corey said, and I'm going to kind of pause it, and then let me know. First, give me a yes if you can hear. Let me know if you can hear this. Okay, here we go.
I just want to say, Mr. Watkins, you need to understand the position you in. Hey, do we really have a video put up? Okay. Show me this video.
Okay, first of all, give me a yes if you can hear that. Can you hear it? You can hear it? Okay. Okay, good. Thank you. All right, here we go.
Y'all see this shit? You ain't even got to say shit first. Can the people see that? Do you see her hesitation?
He said, "Doesn't this channel work for Corey?" No, absolutely fucking not.
First of all, this is a lady he known for a long time. I said lady. I do not know this lady. I have nothing against her. I just only understand her hesitation. It's obvious in the video. Look how she looking. Look how she looking.
Okay, so let me pause it right there. My wife and I, we did talk about that, and I said people think that based on how you were standing, they speculate that you did not want to marry me, and she was kind of surprised by that. And it actually, if you watch the video,
imagine that conversation. Imagine the conversation between his wife and him when he was having this shit go to his head. He said, that did kind of look odd. Maybe I should have asked my wife about this. Hey, you know the video when I proposed to you and you didn't look too excited and your reaction was kind of off. Did you want to marry me? Did you want to marry me? That's a weird question to ask your wife that already said yes and married you and y'all have a life going on right now. It seems like you were a little bit too unsure yourself. I don't know.
The full video of the proposal is online. And you can see the first thing she does when I give her the ring is she puts it on her finger. Right. So her disposition was really shock and surprise. I had spent the whole day, just so y'all know what happened that day. I spent the whole day planning to propose to her exactly where we met when I was 22 years old. And so we went for a run and I said, hey, let's go visit the old place, the cafeteria where I met you, when I was in grad school. And so we went there, and that's when I made the proposal to her. I handed my camera to this brother that was standing nearby. He didn't know he was going to be filming the proposal. And that was my way of kind of surprising her. I was real nervous. I was nervous all day that I was going to lose the ring, that I was going to do it wrong or whatever. One thing I was not nervous about, one thing I was not worried about at all was her saying no. And this is a little tip for anybody that ever proposes marriage to somebody, especially when other people are around. Never, ever propose. Don't really ask any significant question. Never ask that question unless you know the answer. Don't do that. Don't leave it up to chance. So in that situation, we kind of just thought it was hilarious that there were people who thought that somehow she was hesitant or didn't want to marry me because, number one, if she didn't want to marry me, I would have known that and I would never would have proposed. Or two, she would have just said no. Okay. She's able to say no to things she does not want to do. And so, the speculation, I know some of you may have seen the speculation, some of you may not, but I think hearing it from me and hearing exactly what actually happened would be better than hearing like gossip on the internet from people who've never met me or never had a conversation with me.
Funny that you're saying that the video will help people understand when really everybody's seen the video. They didn't just take Corey's word for it. Matter of fact, Corey said, go watch the video. Corey wasn't just like, hey, there's a video of Boyce Watkins where he looks super crazy proposing to his now wife, and it's wild as fuck. It's wild. No, he said, go watch the shit and see for yourself. And that's exactly what people did. The video started making its rounds. Exactly why you actually had to lay next to your wife and ask her about that situation is because people saw it. Now, I'm not saying his wife doesn't love him. I'm not saying that she didn't really want to marry him. It just looks suspicious. Just looks a little suspicious. Mike Reimer says, men with feminine tendencies are always threatened by men who are secure in their masculine skin. And they also tend to twist the narrative, as you can see. This was just, it was all over the place with him trying to find ways to discredit the things that Corey was saying about him. But y'all need to see for yourself.
By the way, my new book is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. It's available on Amazon if you want to take a look. And also, I want everybody to know, including both of these guys on both of these shows, that if you ever want to have me on for a debate, I'd be more than happy to come on the show. I would stand by every single thing I've ever said, and I will listen to you and hear everything that you have to say. Okay, so let's keep going. Here we go. All right.
Stop it. I just want to say something that I want the crew to especially Darlene. I want to see what she got to say about this. I want to let all you guys 5'8" and under know this. Women prefer to have children with bigger guys.
Salute to all my short kings out there.
Guys with height. So, Mr. Watkins, I want you to know.
You know that touched the
didn't
nerve.
have a baby with you. You got her when she was finished and when you was finished. But you a meal ticket for her. That's why I believe that this woman decided to say,
all right, so
I do it because her body.
So let's stop there. Okay. So Corey says you a couple of things. Number one, he says you were a meal ticket for her, and again that fits. Sometimes when people talk about what they see in your relationship, that's really a reflection of what they see in their own relationships. I think that Corey, because he's in the entertainment space, he probably runs into a lot of low vibration,
Not the mangina monologue.
and gold digging, nasty ass women. He does. He probably does, right? Because I've been in LA where Corey lives, and I remember the time I was in LA and I met him.
Now that's one thing Boyce ain't wrong about. Corey do be dealing with some dog ass hoes. He says this shit. He says he be dealing with some ain't shit bitches. So if anybody else call it out, you can't get mad about that. You do put yourself out there in that way, so people are open to judge in that way, especially when you do give dating advice. I've said this actually myself. I've said it when it comes to certain things that Corey said in the dating world. Take it with a grain of salt, because when you take dating advice from somebody who deals with known ratchet, no good, I need your $40 on the dresser type hoes, you get what you get. And I think Corey's very aware of what he gets from these people, which is why he acts the way he acts or gives the advice that he gives. It's for the people that deal with the same type of women he does.
And when I was in LA, I had desperate, beautiful, beautiful women, but very desperate actresses that wanted to get next to me because I had money and status, and they saw people clapping when I walked in the room. So they thought that, okay, I want to get next to this guy. I was really shocked by that, and I remember thinking, you are a beautiful girl. Like, where's your father? Like, your father, you shouldn't be in LA starving. Your father should be helping you out, sending you money, putting you in a position of strength. But most of them didn't have daddies. And a lot of them were desperate to be successful, famous, whatever. So when they see a guy, and again, Corey has status. He's a good comedian. He's people know him. And I watch Corey. I laugh. I really do. My wife doesn't think he's that funny, but I do. I think he's funny. So these are the types of women that Corey deals with. Now, let me explain my world and the types of women that I saw when I was single. I didn't see low vibration gold diggers. Why? Well, because I don't market myself to low vibrational gold diggers. The first thing I say when I come in this platform is this is for intelligent Black people. That means that about 70% of the Black community is going to say, oh, well, that must not be for me because our self-esteem is not that high. I'm not saying that you have to have education or wealth or anything like that. I'm just saying you have to value intelligence. And to explain to you how backward our culture is, think about this. You had millions of people watching the BET Awards, which was about the most raggedy, ratchet ass, ghetto ass shit that you've ever seen in your life. Give me a yes if you saw any of the craziness that was there. I'm talking about pregnant women twerking with 85 tattoos on their belly, like just with a liquor bottle in a hand. Because again, they get offended when you break down things like fetal alcohol syndrome and how many millions of our kids can't.
Boyce. To sit here and to play the intelligence game as well, which is I hate when Black men do that to other Black men. When somebody calls you out, responds to you for what you said, and then you try to play the, oh, well, I'm gonna act like this other person isn't intelligent because I'm the more intelligent being in this situation, and that discredits what they said about me. Let me just say this. Boyce was live for over an hour and a half. Not one time did he acknowledge or even address the allegations of not paying his employees. Even if it was false, he could have simply said, oh, well, in the allegations that Corey threw out that I wasn't paying my employees, that's totally false. I've paid everybody. So if anybody comes out to say anything about me and me not paying them, they're only doing that for clout or for Corey's show or they're lying on me. He didn't say anything like that. He didn't even acknowledge it. He's trying to pinpoint certain things to try to make it seem like Corey was just attacking him for being in love with a black woman. And totally and trying to minimize the reaction that everybody saw. I'm sure everybody in the comments or anybody that's going to see this later on has seen plenty of proposal videos. Plenty. So it's not just about what should happen during a proposal or what people think should happen. It's about people genuinely being happy to be proposed to and genuinely being happy to want to start or to be married to somebody. It did not look like that with her. It just didn't. And that's exactly why you had to ask her this. Anybody that's secure, he's also playing the role of feeling like he's secure in his marriage and all the other shit. But if you were so secure in your marriage, you wouldn't even think about asking her the question of how she felt or what happened on the day that you proposed. You wouldn't let the internet's narrative of her not being interested get to you so much that y'all have a conversation on it. And of course, because you're being publicly brought out there for it and people are giving you backlash for it or clowning you for it, she's not going to be like, well, I did feel uncomfortable or I was a little unsure at the time. Because it's just going to validate the opinions of people who don't know you. And niggas can say, oh, you know, I'm not going to pay attention to the opinions of people that don't know me. You could say that all day, but it's not like people are just saying, oh, Boyce Watkins is a thief and a this and that and leaving it there. They watched the video and made their opinion on a video that they saw based off of somebody's body language and their answer to you proposing to them. It's just that simple. Now, the allegations that you should be worried about, because you're already married, you're already in a secure relationship, right? You should be only worried about the allegations of you not paying your employees. Not once did he speak on that. Let me go just a little bit forward, just a little bit.
29. I remember doing online dating. That was the last time I was able to do online dating, because after that, people knew who I was, so it wouldn't work anymore. And more than a couple of times, I remember hearing women that would just instantly say, well, I'm sorry, I don't date men under 6 feet tall. And I think it's their right. I think everybody has a right to want what they want. But I remember thinking, wow, like, you don't even know anything about me. And you're not even that tall. You're only 5'5". But it's their right to have a preference. But the other thing, too, that you have to understand, and this is on, talking about dating, really actually from a mathematical standpoint, the more, and this is true of mathematics, the more restrictions you put on your search, the less optimal your outcome is going to be. And what does that mean? That means the more you restrain, the more you thin out the herd and are clearing out the pool, the harder it's going to be for you to pick what you want. So if 6 feet tall is important, you can't come in and say, I want 6 feet tall. I want him to be rich. I want him to have no kids. I want him to have, I want him to be super intelligent. Like the more you name all these restrictions and you have this big list, the more likely you are to be single, for the rest of your life. Same thing, that there are men who.
In other words, he was offended by the short comment. In other words, he went on a whole tangent about women's preference on short guys because clearly he's dealt with that his entire life. We'll just go past that. Shout out to Do Better, the Do Better podcast, man. Shout out to you. Boyce was on here live. He said it so many times. I'm talking about he said it so many times that he wanted to join your show and join Corey's show to have a live debate. See, this is another thing he was saying. He wanted to go in there and debate. It's not about a debate. Corey has an opinion on what it looked like when you proposed to your wife. That's not going to be a debate at all. That's just going to be Corey telling you what he saw and you telling him how you feel. There's nothing going to go from that. What you should go in there and have a conversation about is the employees that you allegedly didn't pay. Corey said he would have people that used to work for you come up to the show. I think it would be very lucrative if Corey invited those people on the show and invited Boyce Watkins on the show, whether it be him actually going there or being via camera or whatever the case may be, webcam, and have that conversation. That's what I care about. I mean, all this other stuff is like, oh, whatever, entertainment, blah, blah, blah. They just talking shit. But honestly, me, behind the camera, I care about the fact that a person that is trying to put all this energy out here about leading people or black love or trying to support each other or be there for each other or be intelligent and have this shit or be a conglomerate or whatever, you should be the last person to not pay your employees, especially if they black. So, I mean, that's just me.
Would believe that a man is a clown for getting on his knee and proposing to a black woman. I mean, you know, I'm not a fan of all the, you know, all the women that have just kind of divested from the black community, who just feel like, you know, black men are not as good as other men and they're marrying, you know, people like Prince Harry and stuff. I think we should stick with our people. I really do. But think about this. The black woman is not honored in our community by some of the men, you know. I thought that getting on your knee to propose was what you were supposed to do if you really love a woman. You know, now I'm not on my knee for a stripper.
Twisting the narrative. Twisting the narrative.
I'm not getting on one knee for a prostitute. I'm not getting on one knee for a one-night stand. I'm getting on one knee for the first time in my life because I wanted to communicate to this woman that you are so special, you are so significant, that that I want the whole world to know how much I love you. And I know most men don't think this way, right? So I think it's really important that we don't act like every black man does this. But the fact that me getting on one knee, and because I mean, he talks about facial expressions, but I don't understand how you would even know what I'm thinking based on what my face looks like. You know, in fact, at that moment, I probably had tears in my eyes because I never loved somebody that much. And also, her facial expression was, you know, like surprise, shock, right?
Newsflash, Mr. Dr. Boyce Watkins. Corey didn't have a problem with you proposing to a woman. Corey didn't have a problem with you proposing to a black woman. As a matter of fact, Corey was married at one point himself. So he had to propose to a woman. It wasn't the fact that you proposed. It was the reaction. It was the reaction, man. And he knows this because Boyce is, what he says, an intelligent person. And a lot of the things that intelligent people like to do, like Boyce, is twist the narrative, because when they have their own fan base, when they have their own subscribers and followers that believe in what they say, just like Corey in the 5150 show, these people can say what they want to say about a person and people will run with it. And at that point, they don't need context anymore. That is a problem.
Hey, again, if you watch the video, okay, more of the video, because I want to hear what Corey has to say, because I like sort of helping break this down for some, especially young guys.
A woman who feel like, oh, he finally did it. That's the woman's face that's saying, damn, I ain't got no more options.
Okay. So
he said, Jordan Henley said, my spidey senses tell me this ain't gonna last. I could be wrong though.
That's the woman's face that says, damn, I ain't got no more options. Okay. So
we'll see.
What I want to do is I want to show you all something. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. You're watching Dr. here. And look at my wife here. The craziest crock of shit I've ever heard in my life. And I'm gonna show you a picture of my wife. Here's my wife. Share, subscribe. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. All right, so let me ask y'all. Let me throw up a little test. I'm gonna do a little litmus test. So a lot of you all heard falsely from the late Kevin Samuels. RIP to Kevin, but Kevin was wrong sometimes. It's just the truth. He wasn't wrong about everything, but he was wrong about this: that somehow women over 35 are garbage, and that nobody wants women over 35, which I think is the craziest crock of shit I've ever heard in my life. And I'm gonna show you a picture of my wife. Here's my wife.
He going at Kevin in the name of trying to show his wife off, man. Ain't that some shit?
Now, not to say that I would put this out there like that, but do you think that looks like a woman who has no options? Like, does that look like a woman who says, I better grab the first man that comes along, or ain't nobody never gonna want me? Like,
hey, Boyce, another news flash for you, bro. Looks don't mean a goddamn thing when a woman feels like it's over for her. I've seen plenty attractive women who had turned out single and don't know what to do with themselves or in the dating world because they have lost or they felt like all their options are exhausted. We have seen plenty of women over the age of 35 who look good but aren't married or in a relationship, who only care about money or status or just being taken care of by a motherfucker that has it, do exactly what you're trying to say didn't happen with you. Now, I'm not saying it happened to you. I'm not saying this was your wife's intentions. But for a man that keeps talking about intelligence and whatever the fuck the home of intelligent black people is on your channel, you seem to not really look at things in a more broader perspective.
Really, does anybody that like is that an image? I'm gonna see. I sit here and look at my wife, and every day I think she's gorgeous, and she works out 5-6 times a week. And I've seen her, when we were friends before I wanted to get married, many years ago. I would see her getting hit on by NBA players with $10 million in the bank. She was not impressed. She is not impressed by athletes. I saw her getting hit on by dope dealers with big Mercedes Benzes and gold chains and shit. She didn't want that because she didn't want to be with a thug.
Is this nigga capping? Put the caps. Put the caps in the chat. Put the caps in the chat. Hold up. I got to hear this again.
The craziest crock of shit I've ever heard in my life. And I'm going to show you a picture of my wife. Here's my wife.
He said,
like, does that look like a woman who says, I better grab the first man that comes along, or ain't nobody never going to want me? Like, really, does anybody that, like, is that an image? I'm going to see, I sit here and look at my wife, and every day I think she's gorgeous, and she works out 5-6 times a week. And I've seen her, when we were friends before I wanted to get married, many years ago. I would see her getting hit on by NBA players with $10 million in the bank. She was not impressed. She is not impressed by athletes. I saw her getting hit on by dope dealers with big Mercedes Benzes and gold chains and shit. She didn't want that because she didn't want to be with a thug. Because she had a daddy. Now let me tell you about my wife. That's really interesting to me. What's really
she had a daddy. Hey, I want to make a full disclaimer. I want if Boyce just so happens to see this, I doubt he will. But I just want to make a full disclaimer. There's nothing wrong with loving your wife. There's nothing wrong with loving your girl, caring about your girl, being there for your girl. I don't think he is grasping the concept, and this is not for him to change his idea or change how he feels about his wife, but that denial shit, like, we seen what happened on video and how it happened, and there are definitely, if you can recognize the hoochies and the hoes and the prostitutes and the bitches that doing shit for the bread, you can also understand women that marry for security. Women marry for security a lot of the times. It don't even have to be because you the best looking dude in the world or any of that. She could have saw security. Hey, this guy's making a decent amount of money. Not that she needed your money maybe, or that she wanted it, but maybe just in case she needed to fall back in what she was doing or just have more financial freedom in life. This happens. And it doesn't, and I'm not saying that, maybe she thought you was a good dude as well. Maybe she was like, look, this guy's over here doing this thing and, he's saying this and he seems positive. Maybe that was a plus as well. But we cannot act like people, especially at this age, and she already has kids before Boyce, that she was out here looking for love and to just be happily married and love and all this other shit. I think at that point, after you already have been involved and had kids, your purpose in life when it comes to relationships changes. Marriage is a contract. It's a stipulation. A lot of people look for security in their relationships.
Really impresses me with her. Part of the reason that my wife was never impressed by rappers and thugs and basketball players and all that other shit is because of her father. She has something most black women don't have, which was a daddy. Whoa. And her daddy was a professor like me. There's a book, I don't know if it's a book or it was an article, but it's called My Father Was My First Boyfriend. And this is some game. This is some information. It's a lesson I want you all to kind of walk away with and understand.
You know what?
Most of us tend to pick our partners based on what our opposite sex parent actually did for a living. And let me tell you about my marriage. And I'm putting myself out there on this a little bit because I want people that need guidance, those especially young people that don't have anybody that's validating.
Boyce about to say she saw her father in me.
Your beliefs about the fucked up shit going on in your community. I'm that guy who will stand out there. I'll take the arrows. I'll take the swords. I don't care because I'm not scared of none of that. But in this book, they explain that your opposite sex parent shapes what kind of person you're gonna choose, what it is. So let me share a little bit more, and then we're gonna be done, okay? Because I don't want to sit here and talk about this all day. And I promise you, everybody who are used to me doing other things, I will get back to the regular scheduled program after this. All right.
I hate to agree. It's very sad. Like even that quick, and that's just one shot. I don't know, but her body language says a lot.
Stephen D.
Look at her shoulders.
So the other thing too, let me stop there. I don't know who these little sidekicks are on Corey's show. First of all, this lady, I think, I think that she should really be careful because
what?
I don't know.
Darlene will get you yoked, Boyce. You talking about Darlene being careful. I know Darlene is sweet and she's nice and she's caring and all that shit, but she's also Mexican. She also got some ties out here. So be careful before you tell somebody to be careful. That's all I'm saying.
They just kind of look like Ed McMahon used to be on the Johnny Carson show, and all his job was to laugh at all of Johnny's jokes. So these two, as like the little sidekicks that just co-sign on anything he says, they should understand just how kind of ridiculous that makes them look. But that was just a quick thought about that. But let's keep going.
They never lie.
You can tell this nigga don't pay attention to this shit.
At that point with him
You ain't even got to show this video no more. Cut the video off after this.
That's
We
so
see
sad.
what's happening. This is a lane. Mr. Watkins, I'm not mad at you. I actually feel sorry for you. You say you're a professional, but you say on the internet, oh, I met him, I never liked him. But everybody who real know, that's not what you said when you saw me. So then you say, I'm a comedian. Then he tried to bring black women into it. We're supposed to come together.
Okay, now one thing.
All less predict.
Now, one thing I will say is Corey is right. When I met him, I didn't like him. I didn't say anything. I just shook his hand, and he said something stupid, and I just kind of said, "Oh, that's a dumb comedian, immature, whatever, immature black man."
Shut the fuck up with that shit, because let me just say this. For you hear a lot of people say, I'm not afraid to get into a debate, or I'm not afraid to, conversate with people or get on the phone or whatever the case may be. But real life always has shown to be different for a lot of people. There's been so many people that have talked crazy and been malicious and been disrespectful on the internet and seen people in real life and haven't done shit. And I'm going to tell you right now, if I ever met somebody in person and I didn't like them, it's not about me telling them or not. I just won't simply fuck with them or interact with them or anything like that. This happened a while ago. So for you to harbor on it because you seen a post from Willie D talking about, oh, is this wrong or not what Corey did? Oh, when I first met Corey, I never liked him. That was just you literally throwing shots so that you could get a reaction, and you got a reaction, and now you trying to act like you didn't do shit.
Actually, I should probably apologize because that wasn't very nice for me to say it. And he's correct that
The Do Better podcast says the question is, my thing is, why he reacting to my video and not Corey's? Another smite, I would say. He's trying to be spiteful and be like, you know what? Instead of giving Corey's channel the view, I will give another person the view that's talking about it, which was dumb as hell. Because it's like, what? Why would he want to go on somebody else's platform to debate about somebody else that had something to say about him? You are totally correct. He should be just going at Corey. Go and debate Corey. Go and try to go over there and say what you feel about that nigga to that nigga.
His frustration with me never would have occurred had I not said that. I could tell he's hurt, right? I could tell he's a little bit hurt, and that's, you know, when people lash out like that, it's because they're hurt, and I should apologize for that. But I cannot apologize for telling my truth, right? I was honest, but maybe one thing I haven't learned how to do very well is keep things to myself if I feel a certain way, and I can say this is not the first time where I have hurt somebody's feelings and caused them to lash out because I told my truth. It's, you know, and I'll say that when Corey said that thing about wishing death on his child's mother, I was definitely a little triggered by that. You know, I saw it on Willie's page and I just said, man, this is some bullshit. You know, we can't be out here wishing death on, like, if you wish death on the mother of your child, then that means you don't love your child. Because if you love your child, you love what your child loves. You know, your child, there's no person your child on this earth is going to love more than their mother. So if I say I wish death on the mother of my child, even as a joke, that's not showing love for my child. And so what I would encourage men, so first off, I'll say that between me and Corey, he's right. You know, I probably shouldn't have said it. I you know, for sure.
Accountability. All right, boys. You've taken some accountability. You have taken accountability for saying that you were in the wrong, for speaking out first on Corey Holcomb. I give you credit for that. I cannot front. You took accountability for it, but you have still spun the narrative.
Was shot in the head in front of his daughter when we were 25 years old. So this lawyers, black people, also meant to be education on how to get out of it. Anybody in the community, pay attention now. I need y'all to hear this. Only reason that this culture seems flashy and cool is because it's on TV and you're getting paid to live this way. And what I want you to do,
I don't want to hear
Corey
about that shit.
had to say, and I reiterate to Corey and his crew, if y'all want me to come back on 5150, I'll do it. I know Zoe, it's been a while since I've been on the show. I'll be more than happy to come in and have this conversation. So let's see. Let's play this.
A better job at knowing his opposition.
It's a street show, homie. I ain't saying this all villains, as some of you would try and make it seem like if you claim the streets, you a villain. No, we the people who out here in the elements making something out of nothing. That's my audience. That's right. Truck drivers, people who really out here making life work without the tools they should be given. So you can try and make it seem like something wrong with me all you want, but I'm here to tell you, you made a fool out of yourself proposing to somebody who didn't really want you.
Hey, shout out to the Do Better podcast. Theo Coop, man, I appreciate you for sending the 20 to the Cash App, man. I appreciate you, brother. It will be reciprocated in future lives, my brother. When you support me, I support you as always, man. Appreciate you, black man.
Now, I'm not saying she didn't wind up choosing you. I mean, we later in life. Her choices ain't that much out there. All she can do is fuck with me. I'm going to take her to the mall to buy a couple of outfits. Now that,
Go back to that.
What?
No, that picture. I'm sorry. I just looked up.
Now that True Religion ain't that expensive, I can have her out there fly.
I forgot about True Religion.
She looked at him like, I'm not kidding.
Look,
At
come
any
back to
point,
the
See
video.
this?
any woman, if you're excited for the one that you love, is
Hey.
finally popping the question, you would be
I ain't never
ecstatic
seen no
over
woman.
the moon. She's
I
like,
seen bitches tell the nigga no and was more excited.
she's like, oh,
Homie,
Lord.
this ain't the one you want to go after. You can try to rally the black people against me. That's what they always do. oh, he doesn't like black women and all this shit. If I said I wish my baby mama was dead, I stand on it and got some evidence that'll make motherfuckers be like, oh, I see why he think like that. The bitch try to hit me with a car.
And what's messed up is what her shirt
So
says.
it sound like she wish.
What do her shirt say?
Just keep moving.
That's God right there.
Oh,
It ain't no coincidence her shirt say just keep moving. That let me know you ain't sharp as I thought you were.
Okay, so let's stop right there. First thing is I want to point out that and this is important for you guys to understand who you should be getting relationship advice from.
No, boy. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I mentioned this in the top of this live. This person, Boyce, is trying to make it seem like this nigga Corey has a problem with him proposing, or that he loves that he loves a black woman, or he cares about his woman or proposed her in the first place. When it was all about the reaction that she had, and also the comment that he made, what sparked this whole shit off, what started this whole thing off, was a video of Boyce reacting to what Corey said about his baby mom, and Boyce didn't like it. There was context behind that. He doesn't have to be a 5150 listener or a fan of Corey, whatever, to get context to what he reacted to on a short clip. So when you have the evidence and when you have the context behind something, and when you actually have the story behind why somebody feels the way that they do, and you still choose to run with your own narrative, it makes you just as worse as the person that you're talking about. And don't try to mask it in, oh, this is the intelligent black guy versus the clown comedian. It's like, no, you're no better than these media outlets who try to twist the narrative on other black men to try to make them out to be malicious and try to make them out to be horrible people.
And there's different types of advice, right? There's guys that can tell you
He's not going to
how to
address
get a
that,
woman
though.
to sleep with you.
He's talking about relationship advice, but he is not going to mention the fact that Corey just said that his baby mom tried to run him over with a car one time.
And you know that's out there, but then, which is important, right? At some point in your life, then there's also advice on how to find a woman that's really going to work for you. And one of the things I would say is that you really want to be careful about getting advice from older men who are not happy in their relationships. And so when Corey says, the bitch tried to run me over with a car, I want to ask y'all a question. How many of you have been in a relationship with somebody that tried to run you over with a car? Give me a yes or no. How many of you have been in a relationship with somebody who tried to run you over with a car?
The narrative spinning is crazy. You're going to ask people how many times or how many people have tried to get hit by a car. So you basically saying, in other words, it was his fault for getting hit by somebody trying to run him over, or it was his fault for being involved with a crazy bitch? I get it. But also, does that not warrant a man to feel the way that he feels about his baby mom? Are you trying to tell me that this nigga's in the wrong for feeling how he feels for what happened to him?
Yes or no? All right. So the reason I bring this up, and again, I like to bring things up like this because I think everything can be an educational point, is that's really him telling you that he does not make good relationship choices. That's him telling you that I'm not good at picking quality women. In fact,
Corey says all the time the type of women he fucks with, bro. This ain't no revelation.
Yes or no, ladies? And I'm gonna ask this question to ladies. How many of you have ever tried to run someone over with a car? Give me a yes or no if you've ever thought about doing that. And I bet there's gonna be a lot of no's in the chat. And so the element that you spend your time around is going to play a big part in the types of women that you attract. And so Corey and I like to believe that we're both good at what we do. You know, I do what I do. He does what he does. I think he's good. He's a funny comedian. I would watch a Corey Holcomb show and I would laugh. Like I will say that. So in fact,
hey, I said one thing Corey's enemies got in common is the fact that they all say he's funny.
It's out of respect for him that I'm addressing the issue, right? That I'm even addressing him. But the thing is that there's a difference in terms of the types of quality of people that you attract, right? So if you're an entertainer or a comedian, you are going to attract a lot of, you know, gold digging, low vibrational women, strippers, and women that'll sleep with you for money.
You see how he minimized that? You see how he minimized it? Oh, if you're an entertainer or a comedian, you're gonna attract gold diggers. No. Hey, Boyce, you're the same guy that earlier in this live said that you had to resort to dating apps because people started to recognize you after a while. AKA, you felt like you'll be running into gold diggers and motherfuckers just like you talking about the entertainers and comedians. AKA, that's what you started to attract when you took the position on in life to be Dr. Boyce Watkins for the internet. Then to act like you're exempt because what? You finally found a woman that turned down an NBA player and drug dealers who were riding in Benzes and gold chains. First of all, that's all cap because this nigga described niggas in the 80s talking about riding in Benzes with gold chains. Nigga, what? That's how I know he was lying about those scenarios. You talking about the stereotypical shit. Also, if your wife showed you her DMs, she might have been trying to just prove you a point that she's not that type of girl when in reality she might be. She just wanted to make you feel better. You know, some people do that too. They jump out in front of stuff, be like, look, I have NBA players or these guys hitting me up and I deny them. See, you know, I'm loyal. I'm this and that. People want to show you that they are a better human being than they are just to try to get you in a relationship. That shit happens. You got to look at it from all angles.
I operate in a more intellectual space. The women that I attracted were women who made straight A's, who had advanced degrees, who had plenty of money in the bank, stuff like that.
Then why did you go to a dating app, Boyce?
And that was very deliberate. I didn't want low quality women around that were going to do things that might kill me or embarrass me in a significant way. In fact, with my wife, I chose my wife partly because she had class. I met other women that were pretty like her. Because when you get money and you go places and you're traveling around the world, honestly, there's too many options. It was too many options. And I can think of a time where there was a woman that I met that was actually in LA who, where Corey lives, who I thought might be somebody I could approach. But I did something, that I encourage guys to do, which is I just observed her behavior for a long time. When you're a king and you're trying to build an empire, you got to watch who you let into your kingdom, because a lot of times the kingdom can be destroyed from the inside out. So I just observed her behavior. And then one day I saw her just say some stuff on social media that was just damn embarrassing. And I remember thinking, okay, thank you, God, for giving me the discernment to take my time with this woman before I go and let her into my life. And so the reason that you got to be cautious about getting advice from a guy like a Corey is Corey tells you, I had a child with a woman who tried to murder me, the bitch tried to run me over with a car. So that's why I'm wishing death on her. So basically, that's not really love. That's war. That's not black love. That's black war. And a lot of black relationships end up like that because y'all guys have never been taught to not sit around and trust a big butt and a smile. Some of y'all will still be so impressed by a woman's ass, her titties, or the sex that she gives you on the first date that you'll go and put your seed inside this woman. And then next thing you know, you got a baby's mama who's crazy, who hates you, who's a terrible human being. And you are in that situation in many cases because your daddy never sat you down and taught you about sexual discipline.
Let me just say for the record that if anybody that pays attention to the 5150 show, Corey talks down on all those fake built girls. He talks down on makeup. Matter of fact, he's one of the people that pushes natural beauty on the show. Regardless of how he approaches it, he could be sounding disrespectful. He could be, not saying it the right way. You may not agree. I haven't agreed on the way that he's approached certain situations, but I've understood where he was coming from. This is a person that is trying to spin a narrative and make a person look a certain type of way. The one thing, though, that will be beneficial from it is that the people that heard this, that pay attention to Boyce, will go over and see the things that Corey says the next 5150 show, probably go to the past ones and see what he talks about, and might end up entertained and might end up staying around to keep watching the show. because they're not going to see what Boyce is talking about. They're going to see what that nigga's talking about. So this was my whole point of Boyce being in denial, Boyce doing X, Y, and Z just to try to prove a point of trying to tear down. While he's trying to point the narrative that Corey is a black man trying to tear another black man down or hates black women, he's literally spinning a narrative and trying to tear another black man down. And even in this entire live that I'm doing right now, I have not tore this man down or tried to make it seem like he was something that he's not. I'm simply watching what he's doing and reacting to how he's approaching this situation. Not one time, again, not one time did Boyce talk about the allegations of not paying his employees. And he's responded to Corey a few times. And Corey has responded a few times and brought up that instance both times. So I think anything else that Boyce does from this point on, whatever he responds or anything like that when it comes to Corey Holcomb, he should probably put that disclaimer in there. He should probably talk about that instance a little bit. Maybe clear it up. Because now it's going to look like if anybody comes out to say that they were a former employee of you and they weren't paid or compensated for their work that they did, it's a no-brainer for people to believe that. Because it seems like you're avoiding it when you shouldn't. You're the intelligent black man. You're all for black love. You're all for unity. You're all for treating people right and treating people fair. Go ahead and utilize that. Practice what you preach. If these allegations are true. If the allegations are true. Now, I heard that he also went live last night. I don't know what he said. I don't know. I didn't watch that. I don't know what he was talking about. He maybe have mentioned Corey. But I don't know. I don't want to watch it. He's not very entertaining, or not entertaining. He's not very interesting to listen to. I don't shy away from intelligent conversations, but I also don't like listening to boring motherfuckers as well, and people that are out here trying to twist narratives or twist the story to try to benefit them. At the end of the day, Boyce Watkins, you started this fire. You got clowned for it. Niggas exposed certain shit. Put an eye on your marriage, and now you have questioned the validity of the reaction of your wife to her face, actually, which is crazy. I don't ever think that a person that is secure in their relationship or in their marriage would ever question or ever have any doubts on their reaction to the day that they propose, but that's just me. Also, to play the intelligent role like, oh, I'm the intelligent guy and you're not because you're a comedian, cut that shit out. We got to continue to support comedians. They trying to destroy the genre of comedy. And not just the genre of comedy, but they're trying to destroy black comedians. For Boyce to say that most comedians are clowns besides Dave Chappelle is fuckery. Because I know plenty of intelligent comedians, super funny individuals, who would talk circles around Boyce Watkins. Black Ron being one of them. Put Black Ron and Boyce Watkins in the same room, put a topic in front of them. Y'all tell me who coming out of that debate the winner. He don't need to roast Boyce Watkins. He don't need to be a comedian. He don't need to crack jokes, none of that. To downplay comedians because you got roasted, to try to make your audience feel like all comedians are clowns or discredit them because the spotlight's on you, that's not very intelligent. That's not very pro-black of you. That's not too it's not too smart. You sitting right here on the internet just like everybody else, talking about some bullshit. and probably more entertained talking about that bullshit than the other shit that you talk about mainly on your channel anyway. It excites you. Some of this shit excites some of these niggas. That's why I think he said it in the first place. I think he made that comment on Willie D's page because he wanted this excitement in his life. I haven't been hearing too much about Boyce Watkins lately until this shit start happening. Craig definitely is another one. Craig is definitely another one who will talk circles around Boyce Watkins if the opportunity came. Which is why I high key would hope and wish that they did invite him back on there. But I don't think it'll be what we think it is because I think Corey's opinion about Boyce is too strong for it to be a productive conversation or even a productive debate, if anything. Corey's view, and this is actually where I agree with Boyce at. Corey's view on relationships is totally different from Boyce. And I don't see that being a productive conversation. I don't see it being where both of them leave like, well, this person taught me something, and this person taught me something, I'm gonna go away with it and whatever. I don't even see it being a agree to disagree. I think it's gotten to the point where insults have been made and people feel slighted, people feel disrespected, and I don't think it'll actually end up being what it could be or what it should be. But if these grown men, these grown individuals, these creators of content decide that they want to link up and have a conversation, I'll be right there to listen to it and to see how that goes. Now, GMS fam, the Green Room, I thank y'all for pulling up today to watch this review. Like I said, I ain't did a review in a minute. I have not did a review in a minute, but this was fun. This was pretty dope. I appreciate y'all for pulling up. Shout out to the Do Better podcast, man. I appreciate you, man. That's whose podcast that Boyce Watkins was reacting to during this video. So shout out to the Do Better podcast. Go subscribe to him. Go check out his lives. Very entertaining dude. Very entertaining content over there. Make sure you check him out. GMS fam, the Green Room. Shout out your city, man. Where you from? We about to end the live, man. I appreciate y'all for pulling up as always. Hit that like button on the way out, man. Follow me on my socials. I follow everybody back. Appreciate everybody on my IG that got us to 14K followers, man. Appreciate you. Hit that Cash App today if you are feeling generous. I most appreciate it. You'll be helping out the GMS show. Shout out to the Do Better for the 20 in the Cash App. My guy. Appreciate you, Jeff Hunt. Hit that rewind, my brother. I see you. It's Friday, man, so you know 3Gs is tonight, man. It's been a couple weeks, man. I was out of town and we had to skip last weekend, but we are back tonight, 8 p.m., the 3Gs podcast. You don't want to miss it. We got a lot to catch up on, a lot to talk about. It's going to be a dope show as always, so I want to see every single one of y'all there. We got West Palm Beach in the building, Detroit in the building, Reno in the building. My Minnesota brother JR is in the building. What up, Jan Wynn? Amsterdam is in the building. Amsterdam, Holland. Shout out Promico, man. My Amsterdam brother out there. Shout out to Maple Grove in the building. He said, Jack Jones said, GMS, look out. He already came for Do Better. Moist gonna be on you next. I don't know, man. I don't think I would ever debate Boyce Watkins because you see he clearly has a disdain for a certain demographic of black people, and he considers a certain demographic of black people unworthy to be around or to associate with, but that just makes him no better than these white supremacist motherfuckers that he be talking about as well. Now, I do agree that there are certain black people that we should leave behind because they do not hold the values or they do not care about other black lives, which is why we deal with certain things in certain communities, because I'm a realist in that way. But I don't categorize all black people the way that certain black people do. I still have hope for a lot of black people because people are able to change. People are able to make the shift. We've seen it over and over and over again in our community. People that have gone from a certain lifestyle to becoming better human beings and trying to pass that forward to the community. So I will never, ever, ever, ever hold conversation with people that are already stuck in that type of mentality. But more power to Boyce Watkins and everything that he's doing. But I'm going to be doing my thing over here. Shout out to y'all. GMS fam, the Green Room. It's been a dope-ass show. I'm going to see y'all tonight. We out.